Hey, and welcome back to another episode. I'm here in Wasco, California with Coco and her church, New Generations Church. And I'm gonna walk you through what we did here on this trip. So Coco and her church were using the Allen & Heath SQ7, a console we know and love. And we basically did a little bit of a layout makeover. Not a ton of adjustments were made to the mix. We did do some virtual sound check and got things really tweaked and dialed, but the main thing too was to make sure that everything laid out was nice and streamlined, very organized. So on this layer, I'll kind of give you my layout and what we deployed here at the church. We are doing layer A on here is going to be all channels. So if you think about A, it's going to be all channels. They're not running a ton of channels, so they've got their drums here, they've got their band and instruments here, and then their vocals are in pink. And then we've got DCAs over here, as well as the pastor mics and USB audio coming from the computer. Then if we go to layer B, it's our effects layer. So we've got our effects sends and returns in blue. Our layer C is going to be our mixes. We're using aux mixes from the board, using an output on an analog snake up on stage for our in-ear monitor units. Layer C is for our in-ear monitors. So we have 7 PSM 300s that we're using that are now on stage. So anytime we're gonna be mixing in-ear monitors, they're all gonna be here on layer C. D and E are blank, and then F is going to be the layer of untouchables is what I call it. It's just something that I'm trying to see if it works. And so we have our groups, and we have our drums group, our band group, vocals group, and our miscellaneous group, as well as our click track and our drums talk back. So this is kind of the layer that once you set it, your faders kind of stay generally in the same place. It doesn't mean that you can't go down there, but it's just things like click and talk back you aren't reaching for in your mixing experience, and you would hate to accidentally grab them by mistake. So we put them down on a layer kind of hidden, and then we're running a broadcast matrix through USB over to Wirecast on this computer. So the goal is to kind of transition these workstations to Mac Minis for more ports. We did try our darndest on this 5K Retina iMac to upgrade to a newer OS and to install ProPresenter 7, but every time we tried to upgrade the OS, it would fail the install process. So my assumption is that we would need to do a clean install of a more incremental OS update, maybe from High Sierra to Mojave or something smaller, and then upgrade to Ventura, but it just could not handle the jump to macOS Ventura. So eventually the compatibility for Pro 7 and for macOS Ventura all works on this year of iMac. So this is still a valid computer, still want to kind of squeeze the life out of it. But this computer really is just powering ProPresenter 6, and you can see it's powering the LED wall in the room. So really cool layout here in the room, way cool use of visuals in this space. And so obviously one of my recommendations and thoughts would be to simplify both using ProPresenter for visual output for the LED wall, as well as the streaming. And so right now we're running Wirecast on this newer iMac. And so I think we're gonna transition into one machine running the LED wall, ProPresenter, streaming through ProPresenter, and just simplify things back here. So then you would really only need 2 volunteers. You would need an audio engineer and you would need a lyrics operator. So we've got this iMac, it's running our ATEM Mini Pro, and it's just running this one camera, kind of a basic wide shot for the room. And we've got the iPad hooked up to be able to use the SQ Mixpad app in the room. Because as you can see, some of the mixing challenges in this room are that it's kind of behind some walls. So there are some weird reflections and differences in this booth that don't always make it an accurate mixing experience in this room as it is out in the sanctuary. So we're gonna go take a look at that.
We're pausing this video for just a moment to tell you about our sponsor, Digital Glue. If you're in the media production game, whether it's at a small church, a large church, or anything in between, you're gonna wanna hear about Creative Space. It's a one-of-a-kind, all-inclusive storage service which provides an affordable on-site server which you can access globally via VPN, and the Creative Space team takes care of all of the tech. your church doesn't need a dedicated IT staff member to support it. You guys know I've been making videos for the Churchfront channel for over 6 years now, and my team has grown to a place where it's not just me editing videos. We needed a solution that could handle the multiple terabytes of footage we capture every single month and gives us maximum flexibility for collaborative editing. That's why we started using Creative Space's Rogue Pro solution here at Churchfront. Here's the lowdown. Create a storage space and share it with your team. Set up templates with variables to rapidly create folders and project files, ready with custom naming and permissions. Transfer assets and mount directly to your desktop with built-in tools for seamless collaboration. Every folder and file has a shareable link, and you can tag assets to quickly find what you're looking for with libraries. There's no need for each of our team members to copy all of the assets onto their own hard drives, which saves us a ton on storage costs. We can edit off the same server, whether we are all in one office or we are collaborating remotely. Yes, network speed does matter, but the Creative Space team is there to help find solutions like optimized proxy files or remote desktop for slow connection. The cool thing about Creative Space is we are able to collaborate from anywhere using the same files. I've dabbled with other network attached storage in the past, but many of them were unreliable, susceptible to ransomware, and a headache to set up and maintain. The Rogue Pro server, the intuitive software, the proactive support ensure that we have the performance and capability we need while keeping everything up and running smoothly. Ready to simplify your church creative team's workflow? Click the link in the description and schedule a demo today.
One of the things that I did while I was here is I installed Notion and created them a basic audio page and then a docs page. So on the audio page, we have just an SOP with a table of contents over here for Allen and Heath and SQ Fader layout. And we've got the definitions and acronyms, the process steps, and then related resources. So if you scroll down on this page, you can see that I put the fader layout here so that if anybody is looking for something on the Allen and Heath SQ7, they can pretty easily just reach in and grab it. They can figure out, oh man, I forgot, what channel this layer has on it or where this is located. They can use this as kind of a guide. And then I made sure to put some definitions and acronyms. This is something that I think a lot of tech people can kind of overestimate is that, we use terms like CG or IP and VSC or USB, and sometimes we're not being clear about what those terms mean. So I put some definitions and acronyms for CG1 is going to be the iMac 2017 running the LED wall. CG2 is the iMac that we're on right now running Wirecast and Waveform. IP local is going to be our library snapshot for recording our inputs into our DAW for virtual soundcheck, and our IP VSC is inputs virtual soundcheck over USB. So I kind of did a little detailed description there so that if anybody was getting trained, they would get up to speed with the lingo pretty quickly. I didn't do a whole list of process here, but I did put some related resources here. So we've got our template for Waveform, which is our new favorite DAW, recording our tracks into our computer from our board for virtual soundcheck reference later. And then I also put our show file here that is held in Google Drive. So Notion's great because you can just embed these files right there. And the next thing I did on their Notion page that I hope will be helpful to the volunteers is I put their mixing blueprint on the Notion page. That way they can see at a glance where all of their channels are going. So we have right now all their channels down here at the bottom, color coordinated, and you can kind of see the spider web of channel connections to these drum groups, the band group, the vocals group, and the miscellaneous group. And then these groups all go to broadcast matrix, and then all but the miscellaneous group go to the main left right. So you can see that layout. And if I had had a mixing blueprint when I was learning audio, I think I would have come to speed much faster with audio routing and processing and why things were where they were. So hopefully this helps them as they train their team. And for those of you who are curious, I did just make this mixing blueprint in an app called Freeform, which is free on Mac OS Ventura. And so it just allows you to kind of move blocks around and, you know, make connections, lines, shapes, images. You can put drawings or images from the web right on a little kind of canvas, and then you can export it as a PDF. And I just embedded it right here on the Notion page. So that was a pretty sweet experience and made it really quick to get up and running. I made part of it on my iPad at home, and then I finished it on my laptop as I got on site. Next, let's talk about my new favorite application on a computer for virtual sound check. This app is called Waveform, and Waveform is a free Mac or PC DAW that you can download. There is a pro version, but for churches who are looking for a simple DAW to record inputs from a digital console over USB onto a computer and then be able to play it back for reference and for virtual sound check, this is a goldmine. If all you want is virtual sound check and the ability to record tracks into your computer and play them back, this is an awesome tool. You can get a pro version if you're wanting virtual instruments and effects and, you know, really gonna record some music and put out, you know, professional audio recordings. You could totally use this application to do so by paying for the pro version. But for churches, you can definitely download this and then save your own template right within Waveform for easy loading and playing back of the virtual sound check. So this has been a great tool. We spent a lot of time in the seats earlier today playing back looping audio with drums, with vocals, with guitar, with keys, and really tweaking it and really fine-tuning it to get a great mix. One of the things that we did when I got here was all of the wireless IEM units and in-ear monitor units were up there. They're gonna be up on this shelf. They were PSM 300s from Shure, and they had wired down XLRs and 1/4 inches down through the wall and then popped it back open by the SQ, which, you know, they wanted to get line of sight above heads, but I wanted them to have them as close to the talent and the vocalist as possible. So we went ahead and moved them to this rack. So I had Coco get a rack before I got here, and then we installed the PSM 300s right here on stage close to the vocalist. And one of the steps that we'll take here in the coming months is we'll put a RF distribution rack right there above the first 4, and then we'll put another RF distribution above the next 3 so that we can get maximum antenna distribution in this room. But for now, this is a really great setup, and it really cleaned up the signal to the in-ear monitor packs. So this will be a great option for them to have it close to them on stage. They'll be able to check audio and RF strength right from the stage, and if they needed to make a change in the past, they would have to get out ladders and hop up there on the shelf and, you know, tweak or change or move around a cable. Now all of that is gonna be right here with them on stage. So this was a really great move and cleaned up their mixes quite a bit. And in the remaining weeks, they're gonna take the wireless microphones that are up there on the top shelf, and they're gonna move those on stage as well. So I'm gonna have them get another 8-unit rack and see if we can rack mount some of those wireless mic transmitters so that they can be close on stage as well. So when we got here, these speakers were sitting on a little shelf here about mid-height, and all the audio was kind of going into the middle of your body if you were sitting out here in the front couple rows. And so I just had them grab these tripod stands and we threw them up about as high as they could go, and boy did it make a difference. The distribution and the throw of the audio now really reaches the front couple rows in a really nice way, and it sounds really balanced, and it sounds like it's actually coming to your ears and that you're not missing a lot of the audio. So that was an easy move to make, was just to throw those speakers up on sticks, and that helped get even distribution on these side wings where the audio kind of starts to fall off from the mains that are in the room. So having these kind of side fill speakers that are throwing to kind of catch that fall off is really helpful. And as I went, I was labeling everything I could. So this Brady M211 is my new favorite label maker. Shout out to Adam Baronic, the king of finding all label makers. This label maker works right from your phone, and so I was just whipping out my iPhone and typing in labels for cables and for IEM units, and it was printing right here. It connects via Bluetooth, so it was super efficient, doesn't take up much space in a bag, and so it was really easy to stay organized as I went. Overall, a very fun trip. Shout out to Coco and New Generations Church for having Churchfront out. We had a great time streamlining the mixing process here at the SQ7 with the new mixer layout, and we can't wait to see all that this church will do here in the Central Valley of California in Wasco. So thanks so much for having us out. And for more tips and tricks to grow you in your ministry, head to churchfront.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all the future videos we do of our on-site trips. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.